Good morning, good morning, good morning. I know you can't see me yet, but good morning. There we go. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for checking out the Be Your Own Hero show. Let me tell you, I almost missed the whole show. Because, yes, I'm back in my studio in New York, but I thought that I overslept. I thought that I slept past the show because I looked at my watch, right? Looked at my watch, and my watch said 10:30. And I was like, oh, well, I missed it. Overslept by an hour. I'm feeling all right about it. And then Fee was like, you got time. You got time. Say, cool, let's go, let's go, let's go. I was like, what? What are you talking about? And I looked, my other watch, and I guess this one is still on daylight savings time, even though it doesn't exist anymore. Still, I don't know, but this watch is telling me the wrong time, and watch is telling me the right time. So I was like, oh no. So I'm just barely getting up. I'm just barely getting up, but I'm here to do the show. I thought for a second, hey, why don't I turn on Instagram? So I got Instagram Live on. So hope you guys watch me on Instagram. Watch me for a while because this is a half-hour show, and I know you guys like to be in and out on Instagram. So I hope you'll stick with me. Okay, whew. All right, that's my intro. That's my intro. All right, so anyway, welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to the Be Your Own Hero show. I'm your host. I'm Sacred Wrights. I am a professional creative. I am the author of this book. Hack Your Pain Now. Hack Your Pain Now. It's available via Amazon, and people keep being surprised that they find themselves in the book. I'm like, yeah, you're in the book. All the people that are close to me are in the book. So if you're surprised that you're in the book, don't be surprised. It's by the book. It's by the book. Okay, so all right, now that I did that, now that I did the intro, I don't think I think I'm getting settled. I'm getting settled. So let's do the intro, the millionaire intro. Let's talk about some money. Let's talk about some money. So here we go. Let's read it all together. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Ashe. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Ashe. Ashe. Okay. So I'm going to get right to the money because I know I've been teasing y'all with everything else that's been going on. Just one more time. I did my first sermon, and I don't know. I think there's some other sermon in the back of my mind that I can't remember, but I remember doing a sermon. The sermon I did on Sunday was the first one I've done, and I was so nervous, but I've been fed. I've been fed so much by the people who watched it. Oh man, I've been so. You know what? One more thing before I go back into money. I turned off the camera. Like I had the camera on and we did the post event, the post things, um, the, the post. I can't remember what that word is, but okay. We sat around talking, right? And I turned my camera off so I couldn't be involved in sitting around talking. But my stepmom left hers on, and I walked in the room and I was like, oh, and she was still on, and so I was like, oh, okay, and that got me caught up in the post show analysis. That's what it was. That's the word I was trying to think of. Post show analysis, and that got me caught up, and it fed me so much. It fed me so much to know that I had affected people in that way. So Ashe. Ashe, Ashe. Anyway, let me get to the money because I know that's why you guys are here. So let me get to the money. Okay, money. What's funny is this happened yesterday. I think this was yesterday. He sent me a article that was there was a YouTube, I guess I shouldn't call it an article, a YouTube video by this guy named Myron Golden, I think is his name. Anyway, she sent it to me, and I immediately thought of who he was. I was like, oh yeah, that's the garbage man. That's the garbage man. Yes, the garbage man. Now he is fulfilled himself in such a huge way that people seeing him now can't recognize him as a garbage man. And I don't remember how I recognized him as a garbage man, but I saw him and heard something about him being a garbage man, and I scrolled back and scrolled back and scrolled back and found him being a garbage man. And he is now a wealthy, on top of the nosebleeds kind of man. He's doing his best, right? And you can't recognize him as a former garbage man. That said, he was doing his talk, and I was listening. I was like, all right, I'm gonna listen to him while I run. And so I was listening to him while I was running that day, running in Boston, Massachusetts, and he mentioned the book. What's the name of the book? Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now I've read this book. I want to say a couple times. I've read this book a few times, but you know what? I felt like this was the universe's direct message to me, right? Because I've been reading the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, and that's been amazing. But today I felt like, all right, maybe let me just see what's happening in Rich Dad Poor Dad. Let me just read a little bit of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Man, man, I got up on Rich Dad Poor Dad, and wow. See, so what's happening for me is that everything that I've read before has new emphasis now that I'm reading it again for the second time. Because the way I read things is different now. And I told you guys that it took me a long time to read. That was very scary, not being able to read at all. And I've been working at it and working at it and working at it. Now I think I'm in the 95 percentile. There's still sometimes where it happens where I can't read it. And I can't really explain to you what happens, but I can't read the letters. So I have to reread and reread and reread and reread and reread the same sentence over and over again before I can get it. Now that is causing me to reread the same thing over and over again, and that's giving me more reading material. And so I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and man, I don't know where I was. I mean, I know I read it because I see the highlights, but I missed all those things. And let me just tell you one thing that really stuck out with me. Now, for those of you that don't know, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a book about this man, Robert Kiyosaki, and him being raised by his father, who was a psychologist, and his best friend's father, who was who ended up becoming a multimillionaire, who wasn't a multimillionaire yet, but who ended up becoming a multimillionaire. And differences between the two. And how, even at such a young age, we are all programmed We're all programmed to think about money in a certain way. We are all programmed to think about money in a certain way. And even that young, he had to unpeel it and unpeel it and peel it back. Man, that's incredible. Because that means all of us have been programmed the wrong way. And all of us have to unpeel ourselves out of it. Right? So anyway, let me tell you what I read. I read I I just realized he's on my phone and my phone's up doing my Instagram live. So let me remember it. He said that, oh yes, both his both his fathers pay their bills on time. Both of his fathers pay their bills on time. But one of them pays their bills on time. Wait a minute. Sorry. One of their bills pays their bills first, and one of their bills pays their bills second. All right, I'm messing it up. But let me try it one more time. Let me try it one more time. Of his two fathers, I'm just going to paraphrase it. Of his two fathers, one father pays his bills on time. The other one pays his bills last. Yes, one father pays his bills first, and the other father pays his bills last. Yes, there it is. One father pays his bills first, and one father pays his bills last. Now, which one is which? Which one is which? You already know which one is which. You already know which one because it's the one that requires you to rethink how you think about money. So the man who became a multimillionaire many times over is a man who paid his bills last. He paid his bills last. He paid his bills last. He's the final thing. I was like, wow, wow. And so this is what he said about that. What you've got to do is be willing to pay yourself. You've got to be willing to pay yourself first. Now, that's not going to seem possible to most of you, but you've got to be willing to pay yourself first because if you don't, you stay on the same treadmill. You stay on the pay your bills first treadmill that just keeps on paying that, and that's how you get stuck, right? You've got to pay your bills last. You've got to pay yourself first. You've got to pay yourself at least 10% and put that aside every time. Every time you get paid, every time you get paid, every time you get paid, you've got to take 10% and shuffle that away. Shuffle that away, right? Once you do that, you get yourself in the habit. It takes a long time. It takes a long time to get yourself in the habit. But eventually, you get yourself into a habit. And then you start paying your bills later because you've got to put that money aside the very first thing that happens when you receive your paycheck. The very first thing that happens is you've got to save your money. You've got to move that 10%, right? So when that happens first, that means you don't pay your bills first. Excuse me. You don't pay your bills first. You pay your bills after you pay yourself. And once you get into that habit, like let's just start with that. Before you get into paying your bills last, let's get started with pay your bills second. Pay your bills second. Pay your bills second. Right? Just pay yourself first. Pay yourself 10% religiously. Religiously. Take 10% out and shuffle it away. Someplace where you can't see it. Like I really want you to move it to a brokerage account, but for now, move it away. Move it away and watch and wait for something to happen. Because I'm telling you, what will happen automatically. Someone will need to explain to you what's going to happen. It will happen automatically, but it's something that happens in your brain. In your brain, something's going to happen. So you've got to let it happen for you, because I can tell you what's going to happen, but you've got to experience it for yourself. You have to experience it for yourself. So I'm gonna tell you, for me, I stopped paying. Well, yeah, I stopped paying bills first because I started during the pandemic paying myself. Wait a minute. Yeah, I started paying myself. Now I've set up. I set up 30%. I set up 10% for 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 giving, 10% for investing, and 10% for hmm, I can't remember what my third thing was. I can't remember, but I I set aside those two. Well, let's call it 20% for now. And I set aside those, and I put the money in them religiously. As soon as I got paid, I shuffled the money away, and then I would deal with whatever bills I had after that. So I shuffled my bills secondary, and I tell you, it's going to change the way you think about money. It's going to change the way you think about money. It's going to change how you deal with money. It's going to change how adamant you get about paying yourself. You've got to get adamant about paying yourself. And so, just one quick shout back to the richest man in Babylon. My man is making the best chariots of his day. He's making the best chariots of his day, and he's wondering why his if he's making these great chariots, why isn't there somebody tipping him? But people were tipping him. People were tipping him, but they weren't paying him. They weren't tipping him enough to get out of a situation because because he didn't know what to do with the money. He didn't know what to do with the money. See, let me tell you one more story about me. I was doing DoorDash, right? And when I was doing DoorDash, I was thinking, well, I don't have enough money now doing this. I got to wait until I get more money to start investing. But everything I read kept saying to take away 10%. I was like, all right, let me take away 10%. And I felt like, oh man, 10%, 10, I'm gonna give away $1 when I made $10. Like, oh my goodness. But then I set aside that $1 and I didn't feel it. I was like, huh, let me try it again. Same thing happened. But what happened is, I gotta tell you though, I had to move it at the beginning. At the beginning. As soon as I get paid, I had to go in there and move things, because if I didn't do it at the beginning, things would get mixed up. And then I'd be like, no, I can't move it anymore. I gotta pay these bills, I gotta do these things. But when I did it immediately, that's when everything laid itself out. That's when the path became clear. You could see the the mansion off in the hills. You could see it. You could see it, but only when you put the money aside. All right. So all that said, that is just one thing I read from Rich Dad Poor Dad. One thing I read about Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was one of them no, paid their bills first, and one paid their bills last. One paid their bills first, one paid their bills last. And let me just tell you this: Richard's Richard's father was a very well-meaning, very very popular person. He had a PhD. He had all the accolades. He had tenure. He had all the things that you expect a successful person to have. Meanwhile, his other father, his secondary father, was telling him to do stuff that wasn't nobody was telling him to do, and he was a high school dropout. He was a high school dropout. So where does he listen? Does he listen to his father, who has all the accolades, all the semblance of success, and who has a great salary, by the way, or does he follow his father, who, well, his accidental father, who never even finished high school, never even finished high school. I mean, can you imagine what that can do to a young kid? Like, what if he made the other choice? What if he made the other? What if he chose his father? He would be in the same rut most of us find ourselves in. The same rut. You've got to break the ways you think and think outside the box in order to become wealthy. All right? You got to come outside the box. You got to come outside the box and think wealthy. All right? All right, so that's what I got. That's what I got. That's just what I got just for that little bit of time that I read Get Rich Women. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because that's amazing. That's amazing. Just that little bit, it changed my life because I can remember when I made that change. And I still mess up now. I still mess up. Sometimes I still get the money. I can't hold on to all the money. But I know that when I set myself aside, when I set money aside, I can see the mansion through the trees. I can see the mansion through the trees. Ashe. All right, so that's what I got for wealth today. Let me see what I got in terms of comments. Let's see what we got in terms of comments before I move on to other things. Donna Marie Reed is saying, great practice, brother. Yeah. If you get it, you got to get it. You got to get it. And remember, because those old habits are constantly pulling at you. You got to work at it. You got to work at it every time you get some money. That's the best way to do it is every time you get some money of any kind, somebody wants to reimburse you for something you gave at dinner, doesn't matter. Anytime you get some money, pay yourself first. Pay yourself 10% of everything you get everything that you get paid. Ashe. Thank you, Nana. Let's see. B King, you better teach Booth thing. Think outside the box. Yes, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yes, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Ashe. That's my fiance right there. That's great. And let's see what else we got. Donna Marie Reed is hitting me with some flowers. I appreciate that. Yes, sir. Discipline. Yes, discipline. I got to tell you, because this is hard. This is hard work to do. All right, let's see. I'm a living testimony to this philosophy. I hope so, Fee. I hope so. I hope you're doing it to everything now. To everything. You've got to divorce yourself from 10% of everything that comes in. So someone gives you $10, you got to think automatically 10% gone, 10% gone, 10% gone. Oh, that gift card I gave you. Hook it up right now. 10%, boom. Hook it up. All right, let's see. Beyonce in that virtual house. Yes. You put a ring on. Yes, I did. Oh, do I have that photo? I don't think I have that photo yet, but I should have that photo at the ready. So anyway, let's see. Any other comments? Oh, me too. I will begin paying myself first. Yes, because you all should read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But that's all you need. That the fact that these old books by Rich Dad, Poor Dad, by the richest man in Babylon, by all these people have the same small rule: pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Yeah, that's how you change yourself. That's how you change yourself. And you, uh, and I'm gonna tell you, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy because sometimes you're gonna pay yourself first, and then you're gonna be like, well, I paid myself last paycheck, so I'm not gonna do it on this paycheck. You know what I'm saying? You start negotiating with yourself. That's okay. That's okay as long as it's your first steps. But you got to get it into your skull to do it all the time. All the time. If you find $10 walking down the street, you got to automatically think you found $9. That's how crystal clear it needs to be. $9. You got to take out 10% all the time. All the time. Okay. All right. Let's see. He is saying I'm still a work in progress on making myself first, releasing the fear and struggle, and yeah, and faith around that concept. Yes, but it happens to all of us though. It happens to all of us because what I'm reminding you of Rich Dad Poor Dad, what he had to overcome as a child is that much more is that much bigger that we have to overcome it as adults. Like that's not how we were taught to deal with money. That's not how we were taught to deal with money, right? We've got to undo all those years of teaching. It's tough. It's tough. But if you can do it, I promise you, you will see the mansion off through the woods, up there, off the woods. Just focus on the 10%. Just focus on 10%. All right. I hope I've said that enough this show that everyone hears me. Focus on your 10%. Focus on your 10%. Just do that. Just do that. Focus on your 10%. All right. Let's see. I got lots of comments today. All right. Feet King has invited everyone. Oh yeah. I completely forgot about this. I forgot to mention this. Boom. Second marathon together. I run my second marathon wearing the medal because I ran across this guy who didn't wear his Ironman competition medal, and I was like, bro, you got to wear it. And then I was like, well, shoot, I got to wear mine. So at least on the show, I'm gonna be wearing this. Because I got to let people know, and it's heavy too. It's heavy too. All right. So anyway, I guess I've run out of my time. I want to say some shout outs to people. I want to shout out Felicia King and all that she does, and I want to shout out Reverend Mel, and I hope that her okay, I'm gonna do this real quick. So I asked you to give to her Giving Tuesday yesterday, and then I realized halfway through the day I was like, wait a minute, I still have a giving to do, and I gave it quickly via something on a quick video, and I don't know how I did, but I invited you to give to me because my money from the marathon, the second marathon, is still being calculated. It's still being tabulated. And so I asked your people to give $5 and just to see where we are. So after the show today, I'll check out the folder and see how we did. But hey, I got a new yeah, I can't say it, a new thing. I'm doing, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna end it with a new thing. I can't quite get it out. My aphasia is working on me. All right, folks, let me get out of here. I'm already a minute over. Remember that now is better than perfect. Right now is better than perfect. Ashe, I hope you got your money straight. Give 10% to yourself, 10% to yourself, 10% to yourself. Ashe. All right, I'll see you later.